Welcome to the Ogles channel. Thanks for watching today. Now, if there's one TV show that I absolutely adore, it is definitely Frasier from the 90s and early 2000s, and they're getting ready to do a reboot of it, and I honestly thought that the reboot is probably like as good as we're ever going to get as far as like Frasier coming back into the mainstream here. However, we now have a Frasier fan game called Frasier Fantasy, which is in the 8-bit style or Game Boy Color style, and it's a full Frasier RPG, and I'm here to tell you it is wonderfully written, plays wonderfully, and is just a delight to go through this 30-ish minute game that a fan has made out there. And so we're just going to break down Frasier Fantasy, sort of go through what it's all about. I'm not going to spoil like everything in the game because I want you to go out there and play it, because if you're a Frasier fan, I guarantee you'll love the game. But we are going to go through some of the references here and just talk about like what a great fan project this truly is. Now, the story behind the Frasier Fantasy game is basically Frasier wants to host a dinner party to show off his new Mother of Pearl luncheon set that he's got here, and he's so excited about it. Before he can do that, just like a classic Frasier dinner party, things are going to go wrong, you know, along the way. And he needs to get Eddie and Martin out of the apartment because he's so afraid they're going to ruin the dinner party. He also needs to get Niles to give him back his grape scissors to go along with the set here because it's missing out of the set itself. And he also needs to do his radio program so he can get that knocked out for today before he can enjoy his actual dinner party. And so he has this little list of things he has to get done. And as you're getting ready to accomplish all the things on the list, you get to explore around his apartment, you get to explore around Cafe Nervosa, you get to explore around KACL, you get to explore around Maris and Niles' house. And man, there's just so much stuff you get to explore from the Frasier universe. And inside every one of these areas, there are references just littered throughout the entire thing. Like if you want to save your game, you have to go over and you go to a little book down here, and it's one of the Crane Boys mystery novels. And every one that you find has like a different title to go along with the various, you know, references from the show. Also, to accomplish Martin's mission, you have to find 3 Lotus files, and these are talking about the Weeping Lotus, which is like the police case Martin was trying to solve in, I think it was season 2 of the show. It was one of the unsolved mystery cases that he kept looking at, and then, you know, Daphne got some sort of psychic vision around it. But regardless, you are trying to find that inside the game here to get him to basically leave the house. You get some Valentine references as well, as like, you know, being spilt on Frasier's statue over here. You also have like different art inside the apartment, as far as like, you know, stuff you see from the actual show and little references to go along with that. I mean, it is jam-packed full of references. Even like when you look out the telescope here, it talks about how it's only stars in the skies and no one's blinds to look in, because he's looking at antique furniture through the blinds there, and even set Martin up a date in one of the episodes as well. But there's just so much stuff. Oh, my favorite one is when you go over to the piano and you can play the piano and it starts playing the She's Such a Groovy Lady song, which is the song that Martin wrote for Frank Sinatra, and sent the song in, and Niles and Frasier helped him write it. And I've always adored that song. I mean, and they even played it like his Aunt Louise's funeral at the end of the episode. Classic song, and they put it inside the game. And man, like there's just so much to experience in the game, and I'm not going to go through all of it because I want you to play the game for yourself and experience some of these without me spoiling everything. But they've truly taken the show, and they've taken so many references, and they've just jam-packed this game full of it. So if you're a true Frasier fan, you're going to adore this game. And even like the writing of like his dialogue between like Frasier and Niles, or Frasier and Martin, or even like Frasier and Roz. I mean, all the dialogue is like done like dead on perfect. And this guy he's watched enough Frasier to have a knack for mimicking the Frasier, I guess, dialogue. But the whole game is not just simply, you know, searching from one area to another for all of these missing items and such as that. It's also got like a full RPG inside the game. So like Frasier goes up and fights against like bats inside the KACL stacks when he's trying to find Noel. He fights against dogs as he's heading off to Maris's mansion. And like the moves that Frasier can do are like so perfect. I mean, his main like melee attack is a Freudian slap, which is pretty cool little reference there. His magic moves are like therapy, so he can do damage that way, or he can just simply talk to them and put them to sleep. So some fun stuff with that. And so the RPG elements, they are very simple, but at the same time, they're meant to be like a fun joke inside the game as well. And I don't know, it's really cool. And I'm not going to go through all the boss battles because the boss battles are pretty epic inside the game as far as like pulling in references. But I'll just talk about the first one you're going to go through, and that's going to be going against Noel here. And when you go up against Noel, you know, he loves his Star Trek and whatnot. So if you like purposely miss like sci-fi references, he bursts into tears and misses a turn. And I don't know, just little stuff like that is just like so charming inside the game. And I know I'm like gushing a lot about the game here, but like it's for a Frasier fan, I really thought we'd never get a game like this, so I'm just really excited about it. And one thing I meant to mention earlier with the references that was phenomenal is Niles at one point lies to you inside the game, and you find a little trail of nosebleed that you have to follow because every time Niles lies in the show, he gets a nosebleed, and it's just little stuff like that whoever made this game, and I'll put his link to the game in the description down below, as well as the creator and all of that. Like, they are a true Frasier fan, and I cannot thank them enough for creating the game. Also, the soundtrack for the game is pretty phenomenal. They pull obviously a lot of the main Frasier tunes and whatnot for the themes and such, but like even the background music, like when he's in the cafe or in the overworld here outside on the streets of Seattle, all the songs are like so well done. They're enjoyable tunes, and so whoever did the soundtrack for it, and like I said, I'll put all the links in the description down below. The great soundtrack, and they have a knack for creating 8-bit chip tunes that are phenomenal. Now the game itself is only like maybe 30-40 minutes long, depending on how much you want to explore inside the game. I went through like pretty much everything I could find, and it took me about 40 minutes I think to go through the game. But if you wanted to sort of rush through it, you obviously could, but I mean, you're going to miss out on a lot of the fun, the dialogue, and you're missing out of the point of the game, and so I wouldn't recommend that. So about 40 minutes is probably going to get you through the entire experience, and then go back and play it again at some point, share with friends. I mean, it's just a great fun game for Frasier fans out there, and I know it appeals to a very, very small market, because you got to have someone who enjoys old retro 8-bit video games like the Game Boy Color, someone who loves old Frasier and is wanting to download this to go through it. So it's a very small audience, but for the audience that is out there, I promise you, you're going to love it. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos listed up above, and as always, go out there, find a great game to play. Simply have a great rest of the day.